All right, good to see you all. We have a whole bunch of CP3108 students in the audience, and I think it is probably time to get started. We have a schedule in our general topic in the Telegram group SA2425 CP3108. And without further ado, I would like to call on team P14 Python to get started.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
I think we have a basic slide deck for everybody to follow, so I'll just share that. Okay, evening everyone, we are the Python team. We'll be sharing more about the Python implementation in Source Academy as well as our progress and goals for this semester. Okay, our work can be found at this GitHub repository, Source Academy PySlang. It's also a sub-module under JSLang, where all the other source language implementations can be found. So our team is building on existing code previously done by senior students. One of them is Kenjin, and he is actively advising our team. Okay, the main product of PySlang is this main function, pass Python to ES3 AST. The input is Python code. The output will be a JavaScript abstract syntax tree. To be more specific, this is a ES3 compatible AST, where ES3 is the common format used by JavaScript parsers and tools. In other familiar terms, this is what the pass function in the CSE machine in CS101S does. In the wider structure in JSLang, I believe that other language implementations also do this. Output a ES3 compatible AST. But please correct me if I'm wrong about this for the other teams. The abstract syntax tree is then run in the same manner as source and other language implementations. Okay, our main goal this semester is to have working, documented, and tested implementations for SICP Chapter 1, 2, and 3 in Python. Our progress so far has involved linking up with our senior Kenjin to better understand the code base, as well as working under Prof. Martin's guidance in implementing our Python language. We have worked on our documentation for Python 1, Chapter 1, with Prof. Martin's advice, and we use this documentation as a reference for the work that needs to be done. We are working on simple bug fixes and features that Python in Source Academy previously did not support. For example, binary hexadecimal, octadecimal numbers, and fixing implementation of strings. We are also working on this particular change using big ints to emulate Python's integer type, because integers in Python are of arbitrary precision, meaning that they have no maximum size. And this is different from JavaScript's number type, which is the default that everything uses in Source right now. I think the time is up, so
Yes.
sorry, that was a bit fast.
That's great. We have a bit of time later for questions after the first session, but let us proceed with team P10, Stepper. Thanks a lot, Jajun.
Let me share my screen.
Yes.
Yes, so good evening, everyone. So we are from Team P10, the Stepper. Yeah, so what we work on is, of course, the Stepper program that can be found on source 1 and 2. Yeah, so I'm just showing you guys what actually happens behind the scene when Stepper is being called. Is this big function called getEvaluation step. The AST is sent to this evaluation step program, and then everything on code here will just try to find out what every code is supposed to do and to pass out the step-by-step basis for the stepper. Our objective, of course, in the end is to fix bugs in a stepper to ensure that it can be used as a single source of truth for the next generation of Source Academy cadets to rely on. Yeah, the things that we are currently working right now is that there are some bugs in a stepper. So for example, if there's a proper value in the end, nothing will be evaluated. But if there's a function declaration towards the end, actually nothing happens also. This is a bug. Yeah. Something that might be different, for example, is that the REPL can show different results from a stepper. How the REPL shows 10 here, but for stepper actually shows undefined. Yeah. Then lastly, of course, will be some complex function might not be very useful in a stepper because everything is just hidden inside the nested lambda. And then this is not exactly very useful for students to use to understand how their code works. Yeah, so we are working closely with Prof. Martin also to find out what better ways we can fix the stepper and fix all the bugs so that it can be a clear implementation such that next time people can use it for actual tool to debug their code. Yeah.
That's great. Thanks a lot, Hans, for sharing your project, P10 Stepper. And next up is P3, CSE Ecstatic Engineers. The Ecstatic Engineers, please.
All right. Good evening, everyone. I'm Zui from Ecstatic Engineers team. So let me just briefly go through what we have done this semester. We'll be talking about our project scope, what have we done, what we have done so far, and some of our future plan. So our project scope is on discovering and fixing some bugs related to the CSE machine in JSLang and also on front end. And we also try to introduce some new enhancements. And so far we have been able to fix 5 bugs. We are currently working on 2 more, and we are close to finish implementing 2 new enhancements. So as you can see here, this list of everything that we have done so far, but they are not very interesting. So I'm going to skip this part and talk about our future plan, which is, I think is more interesting. Currently we have fixed most of the known bugs in the CSE machine. And in the future, we would like to move towards the front end more. So in particular, we want to focus on 2 current issues for displaying the CSE machine in the front end. First is that objects can jump around unexpectedly, and currently there is no way to display objects that are no longer accessible. So as an example, let's say we have this program, then so initially pair22 is binded with this name variable inside the block frame. But if you rebind the pair with A, then it suddenly shifts the position of the pair. And we have discussed it with Prof. Martin Hans, and we all agree that this is undesirable. So our goal is to minimize the change in object's position, and we also need a way to store no longer accessible objects. And the approach that we choose is extended from the other CSE machine group's approach, is to maintain objects' relative position, and which means that we still allow objects to move, but in a very restricted and predictable way. And we estimate that we will probably need the rest of the semester to implement this major change. More details, please discuss with us in the Q&A session. Thank you for listening.
That's great. Thanks a lot, Huang Dui, for explaining CSE Ecstatic Engineers. The next CSE group is P8, CSE Machine UI UX, please.
Hey, hello everyone. My name is Zhou Xuan and my groupmate is Max, and we are P8 CSE Machine UI UX. And more specifically, we have actually worked on some CSE machine animations to help future students to understand the CSE machine better, and Max will show you some.
Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate what we've done so far. This is a simple program. We can split blocks like this. We can move literals to the stash. We can animate unary operations and binary operations. We have assignment, pop, lookup of bindings. And this extra block is just to demonstrate that the lookup function does indeed go to the correct binding. So yeah, that's what we've done so far.
Yeah. And in the future, we'll also be working on adding more animations to the environment itself, which is a bit harder to do than the control and stash animations you have. And we'll also be working together closely with Group P8 to work on the new features that they will be implementing. And we also will try to add more animations to those new features. Yeah, so that's all.
That's great. Thanks a lot, Zhou Xuan and partner, for introducing us to the CSE Machine UI UX animation. Next up is P16, the typed variant of source. Please go ahead.
Hi, let me share my screen. Okay, so type source is Zen and I. So what we have done so far is that our work mainly consists of working on JS Lang, but we also have to make some changes to the front end so that it's compatible with the new JS Lang. So what we did was we removed type hints because with the new type checking, uh, hints are will become redundant, which is why we removed it from the front end. And we did some testing on the stepper with source type, and so far we haven't discovered any bugs yet. So we have enabled stepper in the front end. And for JS Lang, we removed the legacy type checker, and also we had a bit of bug hunting with source type, and there are some bugs that we discovered with source types, such as pre-declared constants being used as types, such as math underscore pi, math underscore the natural log. So we have removed those features, and Zen will continue sharing about our future plans.
So the things that we are doing now are fixing more bugs, such as tightening type word checking for arrays and lists, and enabling the auto-completion of pre-declared source functions like display. We're also facing the error where template literals cannot be used and are giving a node cannot be found error. So for what we are trying to do in the future, with regards to the work we are trying to do in the future, we'll be continuing to fix any issues or bugs with type source, mainly things that are currently preventing type source from being used by future students. And our goal as a team now is to ensure that type source will be usable for the next batch of CS1101 students so that they can better learn about types and its implications while using source. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot, Zen and partner, for showing us your work on type source. And we have come to the end of the first session. So that was a very quick overview of what is happening in programming language implementation. So all the projects in the first session were on programming languages. We have a bit of time for questions. So if you have any questions for the 5 teams that presented so far, please ask here. So there is already a question in the chat. So Richard has a detailed question for Hans regarding the VS Code theme. Hans, do you want to share?
Honestly, I have no idea. Let me check.
Okay, so there is a particular theme file that you have loaded into your VS Code environment. So we take that offline. Yeah, you put that in the chat. So anyone else has a question for the 5 teams that have presented? Python, Stepper, CSE, including animation, and the type variant.
I actually have a question for the animation team. Can I know what are you guys using to animate the animation?
Oh, okay. We are using currently the CSE machine is drawn using the Conva library. And so the animations are also made using the Conva library. Yeah.
So there is an animation library within Conva that allows you to do these things quite conveniently, right? So Joe Schwen, we have had this discussion with some some other teams recently. So people are questioning the choice of Conva for our CSE machine. So now we are adding animations, and that means we are a bit wedded to Conva, isn't it?
Yeah, but we already started with Conva and it was already like implemented that way, so we kind of just added on to it.
Yeah. All right. So that means, and if anyone has any concerns about Conva, now is the time to speak up. Otherwise, we would basically stick to Conva in the medium to longer term. Anyone has any issues with that?
My only concern would be accessibility concerns for those who cannot, because Canvas is not like the HTML Canvas element, which Canva is built on top of, is not accessible for screen readers.
Yeah.
But this is more of a long-term thing.
Long-term thing, right? So we see this trade-off, right? So Conva sort of commits us to this this animation package commits us to Conva, and that loses flexibility in other aspects such as accessibility. And also mobile and sort of so going for pure HTML5 would mitigate would give us a bit more flexibility, right?
Yeah, pure HTML and like just React code itself would actually make it easier. But since we already like done all this already, I'm not sure if it's like a bit too late to switch.
Yeah. That's the commitment we have right now. We are sort of looking at Conva animations because that's the basis for our current CSE machine. And in the future, if we want to move away from Conva, we need to take another look at animations. And that is a long-term thing, and that is normal for such a project. We need to keep up with our technology, and who knows, a couple of years down the road, something else will come up, some replacement of Conva, and we need to revisit our earlier decisions. But that doesn't prevent us from providing really nice animations in the coming year, and I'm really looking forward to that. All right, next session is coming up, or do we have one more question for the presenters? Kirill had a question, right?
Yes, I'm a bit worried about how the CSE UI animations will deal with the implementation of continuations right now.
Yeah, I think I can answer this on behalf of the teams here. The good news is that we sort of have a graceful degradation in this project built in. So if we don't do anything, everything will work as before, and that means you see things without nice animations. That means you see a before and after picture without a transition. Then it is up to the individual implementers the implementers of particular CSE machine operations to provide animations if they can think of something nice. So it would be for you to investigate what an animation for your continuation would look like.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so I think we are ready for the next segment, session 2, and we start with P9, Mobile UI UX. P9, Mobile UI UX.
Yes, I'll be presenting. Hold on, let me just share my screen real quick.
That's Jovan, yes.
Yes, Jovan. Oh.
we don't see your screen yet. Can you try? All right, so Weiket is start sharing the screen. Yeah, we see that now. Yeah. Joven is Weiket. Yeah, okay. Joven and John. Okay, we don't hear you at the moment. Joven and John? I don't think we can hear you.
Oh, right. How about now? My
Yes,
bad.
yes, we
Yes,
can hear you.
apologies. Okay,
No.
yep. So I'm Joven or Wicked, and I'm working with John to work on making the Source Academy more accessible for users on the mobile edition. So I'll start by sharing about our project scope, what we have done, and what are our future plans for this project. So
Right.
firstly, mainly our project scope is a lot of bug fixes and mainly on the issues found and logged on the GitHub Source Academy repo. And we have logged new issues and like what could we fix in which priority. So some of the things we have fixed or implemented is firstly the mobile CSE machine. Currently, it is unusable on the current deployed version of Source Academy, but then we have deployed a fix. So the video shows the current implementation. Like if you try to or use the CSE machine on mobile, it will default back to running the code and give you the output. But we have fixed it, so now you can view the CSE machine on your mobile phones. So next is the navigation bar. Due to its small screen and of the mobile, when you're in portrait mode, if you were to go to the playground, there's a chance the language selector or the contributors page, that segment will overflow into the playground segment. So this is currently a work in progress, but we are working on making the language selector overlap on the first bar instead of overlapping into where you type the code in. But we're still working on this fix, but this is what it will look like after the fix. So now John will be sharing about the other half of the stuff we have done.
Yeah, sorry. So these are like further bugs where like because the mobile screen width is a lot smaller than like your desktop screen width. Yeah. So some of the components will extend beyond the mobile dimensions. Yeah. So one of the examples would be for the folders function in your playground. So the previous slide, sorry, Roman. Yeah. So maybe for the folders function in the playground. So like whenever you want to delete a file, the dialog prompt that prompts out would extend beyond the screen. Yeah. So this is one of the fixes that we've implemented. Then the next slide. Yeah, and another fix related to the same theme, related to the same topic that so when you use the textbook on your mobile phones and you want to use the search option, the search bar also extends beyond the mobile screen width. Yeah, so we've also fixed that as well. Yeah, next slide. Yeah, and then this will be one of the more major changes that we made to the mobile UI design. Yeah. So for the assignments page, when you log on to on your mobile, because the picture takes up quite a bit of space. So there's not much space left remaining for the text on the right side. Yeah. So what we do, we've changed the components such that the picture would display on top and the text will display below so that it's more visible and more convenient for users to access the assignments.
And moving on from here, after the major bug fixes, we'll probably be trying to see what kind of features we could implement to improve the user experience of using Source Academy on mobile. That will be our next big goal for next half of the semester.
Yeah, so if you are using the mobile if you are using Source Academy on the mobile and you'll notice like any possible new features or like any bugs, so do let us know also.
All right. Thanks a lot, Joven and John, for showing us the mobile update. Next up is P15, Source Academy game.
Hello, everyone. Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can.
I will be presenting our showcasing our project. So I will share my screen first. Okay, so currently, currently we have mainly work on improving the accessibility of the SA game. So currently we have mainly addressed the issues 2676, which we have added some additional keyboard inputs for our users to proceed with the dialogue lines, as well as choosing some dialogue topics and locations under the move mode. So now I will give a very simple demo on the SA game simulator. So can everyone see my screen? Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So initially, when we have under the key binding list, we only have two keyboard shortcuts, which is the escape key for showing the escape list, as well as the tab key for showing the dashboard. So now we have added a space for showing the next dialog, a TEV for talk mode, explore mode, and move mode, respectively. And we have used a number to make a selection of the locations as well as the talk topics. Okay, I will demo how these shortcuts will work. So I will use the default chapters in this game simulator. So initially, if you want, under this notification page, if you want to enter this room, I need to use a mouse to click this the game object here. But now if I just only need to click on the spacebar, you would actually enter this page. And to explore, now we just need to click E. Then the user can use the cursor to explore around in this room, in this location. So I click E to exit this explore mode. You will go back to this main menu page. And if I click V, it will showcase all the locations that I can move to. So I click the number respectively. Okay, now I will be in the hallway. So now I go back to show the keyboard shortcuts for the talk topic. Okay, so if I enter T, this one you under the talk mode. Then the number is the same for selection the talk topics. I click 1, enter here. I can use the spacebar now to proceed with the dialog line. Yes. So, and this is what we have implemented and is going to be merged to our main repo. For our future, in the future, I think we are going to address another issues is regarding the quiz mode, because currently in our SA game, all the quizzes are in form of the prompts inside the dialog line. So we try to like change its UI and makes it more interactive and for users to like interact with the game. Okay, I think that's all.
All right, that's great. That's great. We have a little echo here, but next up is the team P5 contest and assessment, and they sent in a video. So let me share my screen, and hopefully, do you see? Yeah, you see my screen? Everyone sees my screen?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, great. And that means I can play the video.
Hi everyone,
Do
my
you
name
hear
is
the
John,
video?
and my partner is Xiangli. Today, we're going to be presenting about what we've done for the past few weeks as part of the P05 contests and assessments team. So in previous implementations, students were required to use this count tokens function in order to calculate how many tokens their contest entry had. However, this was usually very troublesome as you'd have to delete it every time you want to submit. And worse, there could be a chance you could accidentally submit this as part of your code, which could then also count as another token. So instead, what we've done is we've created a has token counter feature. The admin are able to click on this button to enable a token counter, and students will now be able to, upon running their program, see the number of tokens that they have in their program. And so this involved us creating a new kind of REPL output with different styling. And we also had to import Acorn to calculate this token count inside the frontend.
Our second feature is to show the popular vote leaderboard. Currently, the only leaderboard that's shown is the score leaderboard. This shows the top 10 submission of students after taking into account the penalty based on their token counter. However, this is not the only leaderboard shown. As such, we have implemented a new tab called the popular vote leaderboard. This shows the top 10 submission based on popularity vote itself. In order to do this, we added a new attribute in the backend. This stores the popularity score of each submission. With this attribute, we are able to display out and filter out the top 10 submissions. Moving forward, our main goal for the next few weeks is to fix small bugs, as well as to implement a new feature which allows us to filter out low-quality submission. This means that only good submissions are left inside the contest. Thank you for your attention.
All right. Sorry for this glitch that I have here. You see all my interests here in YouTube. Hold on. So what is next here? We have next up is the group P12YHMH folders integration hell. That's also a video presentation, and I need to do what? I think I need to start the QuickTime player here. And that is P12 folder integration, and let us get started.
Hi everyone, we are Group 12 and we are working on integrating folder mode with Google Drive and GitHub. We are Matthew Ho and Zhao Yiheng. So this is the current behavior of folders. When folder mode is enabled, persistence buttons are disabled. As you can see, they are grayed out. And vice versa, when you load a file in GitHub or Google Drive, folder mode is disabled. We will now show you some videos demonstrating our changes. For Google Drive, we have updated the UI of the control bar so that there are 5 buttons now with a separate login button to be similar to the one for GitHub. And you're logged in. Now, all of these buttons will become available to you. For demonstration's sake, let's open a folder. We'll open a folder here. Folders integration test, go one more inside, select. And there'll be a pop-up which shows that this folder will overwrite the current contents of our workspace. Press open. So it'll take some time to open, and afterwards, it will automatically open, set folder mode to be enabled, and delete all of these workspace editor tabs. As you can see, the structure is preserved of the folders, and so is the content. Yeah, the content is exactly the same for both files. So opening folders is more or less finished, but we are still working on the save all function for Google Drive.
So this is the demonstration for GitHub folder integration. So first we need to log in. As for me, I have already logged into GitHub on my browser. That's why it is so fast. So now all the buttons will be available. I will click open and you can select the repository. You can select the individual files to open, or you can select the entire folder to open. For the purposes of this demonstration, I'll be selecting the entire folder. And once you click confirm, after a while, folder mode will open, and then it will take some time to load in the files. And afterwards, the folder will be loaded in, and you can choose whichever file you would like to edit. One additional change that we have made for Google Drive is to use newer libraries to communicate with the Google Drive API, as the original Source Academy libraries are deprecated. We do not know when they may stop working suddenly for the actual Source Academy. And as we have shown you, we have implemented opening of folders in both Google Drive and GitHub. As for future work, we will continue to implement saving all folders and files to GitHub and Google Drive using the Save All button. We also suggest only having one default parent folder in folder mode. This will solve the issue of saving multiple folders to the same directory, but not being able to reopen them together. So this is the change that we propose. And lastly, we will consider version control in both Google Drive and GitHub. Thank you very much.
All right, so that was the team on folder modes. And now we are going to continue with our live segments. So the next team that we have is also related to folders, and that's team P17, folders integration with the Source Academy backend. Please, team 17.
Yeah, hello. So I'm Kai Xiang, and I'll be presenting with my partner, Chongmi. So just give me a second to set up my screen. Is everyone able to see my screen?
Yep.
Yeah, so our main purpose is actually to enable folder mode for assessments. Assessments being admissions, the lecture reviews, etc. So as you can see here, what we have here is the folder mode being enabled in the mission view, and we have 3 folders. And we have 3 files. So our current implementation is to make it such that you can only edit the current file of the question. So for example, I'm at question 1. I can only edit 1.js. And you can see that for each question, it actually automatically imports your code from the other files. So over here, you can see that I've exported a function, and over here is just a display function. So this import and export functionality actually works pretty well on the front end currently. And you can see that it actually runs the function, which is hello. So the main purpose for doing such that students won't have to copy their code from one question to another, as we see quite often. So instead, they can probably just import their code from a previous question. So it's one of the main improvements. Some other things that we change include the fact that so some of the things that we change, like the folder mode still does not, they will actually not load the other files if you don't have an answer template in it. I can't really demonstrate it right now, but as you can see for question 4, because I've not visited it yet, it does not actually create the question template for it yet. Right now, we have only worked on the front end. So for the rest of the next few weeks, we'll actually be implementing it into the back end and helping to edit the grader on the back end as well as to support the saving of this current structure. So that's about it.
All right, that's great. So that was the last presentation in session 2. P17, folderless integration with Source Academy backend. Do we have questions for the presenters, specifically for the 3 live presenters? That would be mobile UI UX, the Source Academy game, as well as folder integration with the Source Academy backend. Questions, anyone? I have a question for the team P17, folders integration Source Academy backend. So what you demonstrated is that we have specific files within an assessment that directly correspond to the questions. Is that the structure that you have decided?
Yes, that is the current structure we have decided because it will actually be the easiest to implement so far. The reason why we decided to not let them edit the other files is because it might cause the other questions to fail. For example, let's just say we have test cases in question 1 and we edit 1.js while at question 3. So this will actually cause like a disjoint because the question 1 tests are supposed to fail. But since we already passed that, it doesn't really record it per se.
So the solutions for question for previous questions will be loaded into the next question and be actually used for the testing as well, for the test cases?
Yes, that's correct. It will actually be used for the test cases. So I guess the point is to allow the user to be able to import functions from past questions.
Yep, that makes sense. Any other questions, anyone? All right, that's great. We are actually very much on schedule. Actually, we're one minute ahead of schedule. The next session starts with P7 Stories Content Management. P7, please.
Oh, we are starting now?
Yep.
Oh, okay, I thought it's a break. Okay. So let me try to share the screen. Oh, wait, can you see my screen?
Yep.
Oh yeah, so hi guys, we are I'm Kelly and together with me we have Abigail and we'll be presenting on our part on the stories content management. Okay, so for the stories part, what we have worked on so far is protecting of the storage route. So currently on my left, we have the actual Source Academy page. So someone can actually access the edit stories path, which even though they are not the creator of the stories, even though it's blocked on the back end, they can't actually change it. But on our side, we have tried to protect the route by redirecting them to a different page. Also, we have tried including the CSE machine into the stories page, but currently it's still a bit buggy. Somewhat showing, but it's only showing for like one single story, because the CSE machine, the state is made global. So we will try to make the individual CSE machine state localize it to the individual stories. Maybe then now Abigail will share about our future plans on what we will do ahead from now on. Abigail.
After bringing the CSE machine to stories, we also identified some bugs with the data visualizer. So right now, because like the data visualizer, because of all the story blocks are sharing state, and so like if you try to, for example, you try to run the data visualizer like in one block, like the data, it actually appears in another block, and like if you keep running it, it just keeps following up like this instead of like starting over. So I think we will be working on this. Yeah.
All right. That was Team P7, Stories and Content Management, Stories Content Management, and we have P4 up next on sessions, please.
Yeah, okay, thank you, Prof. Let me just share my screen. Yeah, so we are from P4 sessions. My name is Rafael. My partner is Richie. Unfortunately, I think it's not very optimal for him to talk right now, so I'll just talk all the way through. Okay, so you probably have heard of sessions. It allows you to create individual sessions for collaborative editing in Source Academy Playground. So a little bit about how this works. So users can create their own sessions and can join an existing session with a session ID. The main technology we're going to be using is ShareDB, and this ShareDB is an open source real-time database backend, which uses operational transform. And this is the same technology that other popular editors use, such as Google Docs. And we also have a dedicated client to bind the ShareDB backend and also the ACE editor in the Source Academy to sync with all the changes. So what have we done so far? We changed some of the implementation. For example, we now have two different session IDs for one document. We'll see that in a second. We also have successfully implemented access control, which is the first feature that we wanted to implement. And currently we're also writing our PR draft. So let me just quickly get on with the demo. This is the sessions, and we can create a new session by clicking create. Previously, we only had one session ID, and it was a UU ID, so it's quite long. Now we have shortened it to 6 characters only, and there's two different IDs now. One is for the editors, one is for the viewers. So we can actually classify the access modes for each user. So let's copy the editor here. If we connect with the session in another tab, we can see that it should work as normal. And here it's also updated just now. Now if we connect as a viewer, join as a viewer, this time is actually set to read only. The editor is set to read only, so even if I type anything, we cannot change it here. Yeah, so I'm typing right now and it's not changing. So yeah, that's basically the feature that we have worked on. So our plan is we wanted to implement at least two features. The first one is access control just now, and then the participant indicator, which is basically showing the list of participants and the positions of their cursor, kind of like how Google Docs allow for collaborative editing. And of course, fix bugs and improve UI along the way, which we have done in making this access control. If we have time, possibly we can integrate with the folders because right now it's not integrated yet. We can also add some more features popular to like more other editors such as editing history, adding comments, and etc. So yeah, that's it for our plan, and thank you for listening.
All right, that was Team P4 sessions. And up next is another video presentation. So let me share my screen again. And this time I share the proper sound. I hope this will work now a bit better. And I'm going to the presentation. Here you go. That is P18 Intergalactic Graders.
Hi everyone, this is Intergalactic Graders from P18 over here, and we are here to showcase what we have done for Source Academy in the past 6 weeks. So now before we start, we just like to point out that halfway through the past 6 weeks, we have a member dropout, and so our progress might be less than the other groups inside the call right now. Without further ado, there are two features that we have implemented and we would like to showcase right here. So the first one is that on hover effects of these filter buttons now show a different colored background. So to tell you that you can click on it to filter it, and there will be two different types. So one would be those with colored backgrounds and the others will be underlined. So there are two more features that we also have implemented in the grading overview page. The first one is that when the name of the assessment or any of the buttons overflow or is too long, it will be truncated into ellipses over here, and when you click on it, it will also become ellipses up there on the filters. And the other one is that if you zoom in even further, we have moved the scroll bar down even further. It used to previously be right on top of the page numbers, which would block you from using it. The next feature that we'd like to showcase is inside the grading. On the tabs over here, we have a new tab for briefing. So what this briefing would show would be the briefing for this assessment over here, which is basically the long summary of the entire assessment. And I have imported in the one of the missions that exists for this current semester of 111S. And here's the runes assessment that you can see over here. Now this feature here took us a lot of time to implement because of the various changes to the backend API format, and we had to change every single reference related to grading response. As for future plans, in the short term, we plan to modify the bonus XP system a little bit. So the current system is that bonus XP will be awarded right away after submission, but we want to not award students who submit empty work or work without any EXP. And so we will not award the bonus XP for students who is awarded 0 XP for the entire assessment. And that is it for Intergalactic Graders. Thank you for listening.
All right, so those were the Intergalactic Graders video. And next comes P2, also related to grading, namely Comedic Cadets, P2.
Hi. Can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
All right. So hey guys, we are the comedic cadets in charge of the grading features. So today I'm going to present on what we've done so far. So we migrated filtering from the front end to the back end and implemented a pagination. So a brief intro would be the problem was that filtering was done on the front end, which led to a lot of data being fetched all at once, leading to like this long table being fetched. And then this led to long load times of up to 30 seconds towards the end of the semester, causing a lot of frustration for Avengers. So a few considerations was that first, just taking in the input when migrating filtering to the backend was putting it into raw SQL would result in SQL injection, meaning that users can edit or delete the rows or tables, leading to a disaster. The second consideration would be filtering, where Avengers might want to filter by student name, assessment name, or submission progress, such as students having submitted the assignment or still attempting the assignment. So we want to filter depending on their requirements, meaning that we needed something which can build queries based on these filters. So in comes Ecto, an Elixir library which solves all these problems. So a brief introduction to Ecto is that it's a tool for users to interact with their PostgreSDB through Ecto, part of Ecto which we are leveraging is its ability to help us build SQL queries. So we cleaned up the code, changing it from raw SQL to using Ecto queries, and this is the final product. So this solves SQL injection because Ecto inherently uses parameterized queries, which takes away the worries of SQL injection, and in my opinion, makes the code more readable. And with regards to solving the different filter demands, we used dynamic querying through Ecto. So in the diagram, we see that an example of the builder function, which we created for the users table. So the builder functions are separated based on which table they are querying by. I think that you can think of it as many if statements. So here is the filter. If there's a parameter for username, then we'll filter by the username. We also implemented sending info in packets of 10 rows to reduce the size, seen in the next slide. So this is the final product with dynamic querying here, where we call the different builder functions, and here is where we paginate. Yeah. So our query has reduced from fetching all submissions in the database to just 10 submissions, and this led to massive improvements, as you can see, from around 2 seconds to 100 plus milliseconds. But this is on the local server, which is much faster than the actual server. And the file size has also decreased. So it's a massive improvement. Yeah. Overall, we have reduced the load time by 13 times, and the data sent over is over 4,100 times less. Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot to the team grading committee cadets. And we have a final presentation. So we have come to almost the end. P1 is left to share with us their share links projects. P1.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So what I currently did is that I add a hotkey function to generate the share link. So when you press down the Shift and Enter key on your keyboard, the Source Academy will automatically generate a link and copy it to our clipboard. So the main work now we plan to do is to create a new database, and now when we create a share program, it will be added to the database, and we can retrieve it when the next time we want to use this share program. Currently, when we create a new share link of a program, the front end will generate an URL like this, the previous format here. So it will store the information of the program and the environment configuration inside the link. And then the front end will use the URL shortener to shorten the program. So we can see from the URL on the top here, it stores the chapter now we're currently in and the execution time we set, and other information of the environment configuration of the current program. So now we plan to add more configuration option in the future. Then the URL might exceed the limit length. So it would be better for us to store the program in the backend instead of storing all the information in the URL. Then we can add more configuration options and break the length limit. So down here is the final URL we plan to achieve, and can see that it's much shorter, and we can just identify the program we want to share by its UID. So what we plan to do is now when we create a new link, the front end will transform the program and the environment configuration to JSON format and send it to the backend. The backend will generate and return a UID and add the UID with the JSON to the database. So now we get a URL like this, and we can pass it to the URL shortener to shorten the UID. When the front end receives a link, URL shortener will retrieve the UID from the link, and front end will make a GET request with the UID to retrieve the corresponding program in JSON format in the backend. And front end will then parse the JSON and set the program and environment configuration according to it. Also, the links generated via the current method can still be used when we use this new way to store share links. But now the future shared program will be stored in the backend and will not use the current method. So that's what we plan to do about this project. Yeah, thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot, Ronjin, for presenting your project on share links. And we have come to the end of the session 3, and we would have a bit of time for questions for the students from session 3. And that includes story, content management, P7, sessions for P4. We have the P2 grading committee cadets, as well as the share links projects. Questions, anyone? Okay, well, I mean, if there are no questions, we have actually reached our time limit. It's almost 7 o'clock, so I think we might conclude this show and tell. I hope you all got a bit of an idea of what all the projects are about. I'm personally super impressed by the results you have obtained so far. You're all putting in a lot of effort, and I see that the Source Academy is, as a result, improving a lot this semester. So we see already huge benefits that will come down to our CS111S course next semester. Thanks for your efforts, and we will have another session at the end of the semester. So I'll be scheduling a final show and tell that will allow us to show off the final results that you have achieved. So I'm really looking forward to that. Hopefully in week 13, we'll have a show and tell that shows what you have then finally come up with. Thanks a lot for attending, everyone. And I hope you have a great recess week. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prof.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot. Bye-bye.